How are we living, boys? This is your BRIAR combo guide. I made this video about a year ago, and to be honest, so much has changed with BRIAR that I need to update to keep you guys with the best information possible. A little brief about who I am. I was the highest ranked main server BRIAR last split, and I'm doing pretty well right now. I'm one of the only people to ever hit Challenger with BRIAR, maining her especially. But before all those accomplishments, I'm just someone that enjoys BRIAR and enjoys teaching, so let's get into it. Now your first combo is something like just WQing someone, but there's a little bit of variation to it, so I'll go over it now. So you just WQ to gap close, use both of your movement spells, do as much damage as you can, and then W2 at the end of it. But most of the time, enemy team's going to be moving, so something like just WQ and then autoing and then W2 can vary a little bit, where you will do something like WQ, and let's say this person was traveling towards the turret. As you got to turret aggro, you'd probably just W2 and then E right as you got to the end of the circle. That way you didn't go under turret. The most important part of that is that you do W2 before you E. There's no reason to ever drop that damage, especially because it's your most damaging ability. You want to always be able to, hit this person as much as possible. And then if this turret was hitting me, I would W2 and I would just E before I went under turret, but still getting that W2 damage is a big difference in everything that you do. Now there's some more minute changes in your combos. So for example, if I'm in this bush, I just took crab, and I see enemy jungler walking into this bush, there's a few variations you can do. One of the highest damage ones without using your E is to let them walk in, right? Auto W, auto Q, and then W2 when you need to, right? So I'll show it to you again, and what's important is that you understand that there's an auto attack going before the W, because the W does reset your auto attack. So again, they would walk in, I'd right click auto, and then let it go. And then as they would get too far, I would W2 at the last second. And so there's a difference in there, and it's about 70 damage early game, but in the early game, that's actually huge. Instead of just like, oh, they walked in and then I hit W, right? Why would you ever do that? No, hit the right click for the auto, and then you do an auto Q. And you're always trying to Q after an auto attack if you can, because again, it is an auto attack reset. So you are doing so many small, but very important, minute changes to your combo based on the type of fight that's coming up. Now this is your more advanced combo. It has a lot of moving parts, and it's relative to the distance you are from the person. So in the same scenario where someone's face checking this bush, I want to be close to them rather than far. So if I wanted to do a full combo, I'll show you the difference. Right, you'd probably, if you see them walk in, you'd probably want to full charge your E, and then W auto Q, and then do a ton of autos until you couldn't, right? And then W2. And look at that, I mean, that's a good bit of damage. If you think about that, that's what is that, 1361 with no items, right? That'll kill any champion. But what about in a world where you could change where you're positioned to do the same thing but better? So now I would try and be close to them. So if I saw an enemy laner walking over here, or enemy jungler, I would try and get as close as possible as I could to them so that I could do this. Now this is what you do when you're jungle camps, you might not even realize it. If you E and then right click this, you will actually, if you saw, BRIAR did a little kick, and that adds an auto. You can see the PTA. So that addition of an auto will now change the damage that you do for the better. So if you want, you can try and get as close as possible to this E, right? And then do the same thing that you did. So you're going to E, buffer that auto, W, auto, Q, auto, 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 W2. And then when you look at the damage, we had 1361 last time, but again, we just added some damage to our passive procs. We make sure that we're at 9. We also got an extra auto in there, Proctor PTA faster to get 8% damage more, or whatever rune that you're using. So we got about 140 more damage just for one auto, which should be around 80, because your W2, your passive, every single thing is doing more damage. So it is important to remember that your E has a bufferable auto on things that you're close to. So like this crab, as you can see, it's faker crab, but of course, right, if I get up close to this crab, I can buffer this auto by right-clicking, and now look, I autoed from here. Because your auto starts as the scream ends when that object is still next to you, rather than at the end of the scream, and so on. Now let's talk about some of your more level 6 based combos, where this is what we call fast combo. If you've ever heard anyone say this is what fast combo is. So this is when you're fighting in a lane, or you just know that no one else is around. Let's say you see 2 bot laners, 1 mid, and their jungler just ganked mid. So you know that you're alone with this enemy champion. Well, this is what fast combo is. You're going to W, and then, if you can, auto Q, but if you have to Q to gap close, it's fine, right? So W, and then Q, and then auto attack, W2, and then buffer your R. And you're trying to get all of that done as fast as possible to make your R more consistent to hit, because one, people don't expect you to do a fast combo because it's super all in. in which like we talk about the calculation of them knowing where your team is and if they can take the fight or not. Either way, when BRIAR hits R, dude, you get Perma Blood Frenzy, Armor, MR, Lifesteal, Movement Speed, non-stop damage. I mean, it's insane. Plus, it just does damage by itself, so I'll show it to you. So if I were to be fighting like a Volibear right here, I would W, auto Q, auto W2, and then shoot R. And that looked a little wonky because I had auto refresh combo, so I'll do it without that. So again, this would be, I would just be standing in lane right here. I'm against a Yorick or something. They step up to farm a minion in front of me. W, auto Q, auto W2, R. And bam, we're right in there. Now, try and pay attention to the Q stun bar and when he's actually not CC'd from this, because there's a lot of good time for this, right? So I'm already casting my R as the stun ends, and the travel time in the creation of the pillory being shot, actually it's 1 second. So they have about 0.9 to react and dodge this. Now, you can be scared of them flashing it, but that's always worth because your cooldown is, again, 2 minutes to 5, so that's worth. They flashed away from your R. You just get to run away with E, and you're completely fine. Now you're up cooldowns. And you have the bonus opportunity that, think about how you're doing fast combo, because where are they trying to go to? Would you start a fast combo this way or this way, right? If I do fast combo, right, and I'm scared of them, oh, I didn't have R right there, and I'm scared of them, right, getting back to the turret, I wouldn't want to angle my R to be that way, so BRIAR actually benefits more because they're going through their turret. You'd want to approach fast combo from here, right? Because now you're shooting it. If they flashed away, you're still going to hit R, which you're, more times than not, if they're going to make it to the turret, you're going to hit E anyway, but you did more damage. Now you can threaten that dive following up your next cooldown. So it actually has so much variance to it, and you need to be thinking about these things. That's what makes BRIAR so tough. Now, Demon Combo has a ton of applications, mostly for when you catch people lacking, but it's always going to be a thing where you hit an E in game. And if you're hitting E's in game into wall, you have one question: do I ult? And that's every time. Because your ultimate is a spell that wins team fights. Flat out, it's a game winner. Perma flee enemy team for 1.5, do a ton of damage and everything. So if I were to ever be in a team fight, no matter what the angle is, if someone goes into the wall, you can always ultimate. Why? Because this takes 1 to 1.15 seconds of creation and travel time to get through the whole thing. This is a 1.5 second stun. So you can always Demon Combo a stun target. So look, he's still stunned. I'm already flying in. It's not even close. This is 100% confirmed. It's all on you to just click the button or to know that you'd win it if you did. Now, I'm going to be honest. Anytime that you're hitting Demon Combo in team fights, it's a win. It is almost always a win. Especially because, think about it, you know that it always hits. They don't. So you Demon Combo, you E them into the wall, you start casting R, what are they doing? They're mashing flash to dodge the R. Well, you can't. Now you just flash that R to your team. And there's so much to that. So you can always do something like this, and you can always do something like this too, where, sure, this is more of an all-in part, but it does happen. You can, talk to any BRIAR player, where sometimes you're so low health that you're casting E because you're in a rough spot, so that you are trying to hit enemy team with the with the breath attack, so that one, you can tank their damage, heal up a little bit, and then get them off of you. But then you realize, hey, they're actually going into the wall while I'm doing that. So imagine I'm 200 health, I start charging this, now I can do this and then flash away from them, right? And that might be the difference of you getting that R off and not, because if I'm sitting here and I hit R, they're already hitting me, right? I'm still standing here, they're still damaging me. I don't have damage reduction anymore during R. So sometimes it's worth to flash it away. Again, you have to be really keen on what BRIAR can do and your openings, how much damage you're taking, and so on, and your build. So it's a lot to it. The last version is Mini Demon Combo, and that's just QR. The application of that is simply where, let's say in lane phase or in jungle, you take a fight with W and you're like, okay, this fight's going good. We both are probably going to just run away. I'm going to W2 and I'm going to E. Now I only have Q and R left, right? Well, let's say you just knocked away their jungler, their AD carry stepped up, you can do a flash QR. And this is a 0.85 stun for a 1 to 1.15 cast time. So there's between 0.15 and 0.3 seconds where they're able to act, so they can sometimes just flat out dodge it. Although the R hitbox is pretty big, but I would say if they flash, you definitely are missing. And you just all end with flash QR, and you don't even have to flash, but that's just, the idea. You can Q away that person, you're getting hit by this person, bam, send it through. And now you have a way to fight out of this, because again, in this situation, you were down W and E, Now you queued an R, so you at least can use ultimate to buy time with the extra resistances, extra lifesteal, and even the flee to try and, you know, get through to your next cooldowns. So there's a ton to that one. Now, one of the biggest things people do wrong, this is actually more so a tip, is the fact that people are not understanding Briar's spells. Now, again, think about this, right? Briar leaps to target, stunning it for 0.85, dealing magic damage, reducing their armor and magic resist for 5 seconds. Well, think about your W. Your W lasts for 5 seconds. Meaning, if you want your W2 to do the most damage it can by reducing their armor here, you must always Q after your W. So I see a lot of you do stuff like this, auto Q, auto W, which maybe there's a time and place for that where, you know, you're trying to catch someone lacking that's low health, sure. But more times than not, you should always be doing something like auto W, auto Q, because that means that their armor will be reduced by the time that you're W2ing for maximum damage. And that's where a lot of you mess up, is you're queuing before your W so that you're unable to get the max damage, and you're wondering why your W2s aren't doing that much damage because you're misunderstanding the timer. Now I'm going to do basically a stream of what runes add to your gameplay and what items also do, because it's worth knowing that your champion changes a little bit with it. So something like Titanic is one of Briar's best items. And why? Because, well, look at it. And I'll show each one individually, but so let's take PTA, right? PTA, hitting an enemy champion with 3 consecutive basic attacks. Well, let's look at this. Let's slow it down, right? W, 1 auto. Q, it counts as an auto, so that's actually 2, and then the next auto is 3. So W, auto, Q, auto, because your Q reset it, right, is enough to proc PTA. So it's good to know that, because you want to do that 8% more damage that PTA provides on your Titanic, right? So you'd want to be looking for something like W, auto, Q, auto, you know, W, auto, Q, auto, and then look for your Titanic, because one, your Titanic does physical damage, so you're going to do more damage because you're Q. But on top of the fact, you're now PTAing for 8% more in that Titanic, so that's better than doing this, which some of you trying to do. You're trying to get Titanic on cooldown ASAP, is you just do W, something like that. And that is terrible comboing. Please, please, I have a whole video about Titanic, please. It is very important. It will help you guys so much to understand that best case scenario in almost every scenario, it is always best to W towards someone, let Briar auto, Q, reset it, auto attack after that because it will, and then Titanic, and then you can let the Briar W, the frenzy, auto after Titanic, then you decide when to W2, because look at it, when you, like, you have time after all of this happens to decide when the perfect W2 is. Will they be out of range? You know, will you get stunned after Titanic? So on. So that's what makes it big, is you go for W, auto, Q, auto, Titanic, auto, and then you have half the time to go for 2 more autos before your W2. But sometimes you need to just burst out and kill someone, right? So you're going to do something like this, auto W2, and then you just send them far away. So you have the option, basically, once you have Titanic, to go for 2 more autos after that. But that should be your bread and butter combo every time. W, auto, Q, auto, Titanic, auto, W2, right? And don't cancel. You see I cancel it right there. That's a loss of a ton of damage. Now, for anyone that doesn't know, Black Cleaver is one of the best items for Briar because of this, right? So let's say I hit this person, right? So what Black Cleaver does, dealing physical damage to champions, reduce their armor for 6% for 6 seconds, stacks up to 5 times. So auto them once. So that autoing once would be 1 application of dealing physical damage. Well, don't forget Briar's passive, physical damage. So I auto, 2, 3, 4, 5. So anyone that you hit gets a maximum stacked Black Cleaver for, I mean, you know, it's 6 seconds, but also every time that the bleed ticks, that 6 seconds doesn't even start until the end of bleed, which lasts for, I think it's 5 seconds. Yeah, 5 seconds. So you get like 11 seconds of armor pen on anyone that you auto once. So in team fights, it's very important to know that if I just do this, now I've applied perfect full Black Cleaver 30% armor loss on both targets for the free. And a lot of you don't understand that's why Black Cleaver is so broken. Because although, right, mini rant here, although your Q, your E, and your R all do magic damage, all of your spells proc your bleed. So your bleed in turn is now fully proccing, even though these are doing magic damage, because your bleed is physical damage and you have Black Cleaver. Now if I just hit E, well, guess what? We're going maximum stacked Black Cleaver. This champion is nuts. I'm hitting magic damage and fully stacking a Black Cleaver. That's 30% of their armor gone. Just because I decided to, excuse me, queued you. Oh, I queued you, now you're fully 30% armor down. You guys need to understand that. So now tie that in with the demon combo that I just talked about, right? Oh my god, I just sent you into the wall. Wow, that's crazy. Now I'm doing this, and I can even tap E here. Oh my god. A whole team is 30% armor pen down. This item is nuts. You don't even get it. Now let's talk about Sundered Sky because a lot of people misunderstand it. So back in the day, if you queued someone first with Sundered Sky, your queue would eat the passive of this, and then you wouldn't get anything from it. Now they've changed it to where your queue doesn't proc it. So you do have to auto. So if you're in a team fight and you're running away, you're trying to heal up, well, you have something that heals you for, 6% of your missing health. So go ahead and do this. You do another one, maybe E when you're close, and then try and buffer an auto there. And now you can start Sundered Sky maxing super hard. It's very important. So, in a team fight where you're super low, start trying to buy more time, you can do something like this, auto Q while close to this guy, E, buffer that auto there, bam. Now you've gotten 3 Sundered Sky procs. You went for 18% of your max health. And now you're chilling. You just bought so much time in a team fight. People don't realize how good that is. So it's very important to know Sundered Sky. Now, one thing that comes and goes is Eclipse. Eclipse is one of the items that people love or hate. Either way, there will probably be a time where you need to learn it because it's just that OP. This item, hitting a champion with 2 separate attacks or abilities within 2 seconds, deals a ton of damage and also grants you a shield. Well, BRIAR, because Frenzy does its own thing, allows you to you can just hit W and it'll happen on the second auto. Bam. So it insta-procs for you. It's just 2 autos, right? That's not crazy. But on BRIAR, she's someone that insta-procs this with a lot of things, right? Because you can just do, W auto, Q auto, right? And you've already procced it. You're doing a ton. And the thing about Eclipse and Sundered Sky is they play for these short burst trades. Because if you're playing perfectly with Eclipse, here's what you want to do every time. You want to do this, right? Play for this. They try and trade back during your E. The shield eats it. You E them away or into a wall, and now you're full health. You just trade it into them. You hit every spell, and then you're good. And the ability haste helps you do that. So Eclipse is all about short trades, but again, it's just the fact that you can do so many different things. Like even E-autoing someone is an Eclipse proc, okay? Now think about that for Lane BRIAR, right? Lane BRIAR plays to E people a ton. So now you're E-autoing people. They got knocked back, you got an auto, you also procced your Eclipse, and you never even had to be near the person. It was awesome. Now let's talk about Hexplate. So they changed Hexplate to where it doesn't start proccing after you're casting your ultimate, gain 30% attack speed and movement speed, for 8 seconds. It doesn't start that until after you travel. They fixed it. It used to not work this way. So with IR, it starts it, but then when I land, it resets it. It didn't always work that way, so a lot of people misunderstand that. BRIAR is fine with this item. It's just, it's just not one of her best, but it's still good. People are like, hey, well, Logan, you shoot the R and then you got to wait to travel and you've already lost half the thing. No, they fixed that. So you are all good to build this item. We next talk about Hullbreaker. Now, you probably already know this, but when you hit W, as BRIAR, you can get 5 autos minimum. Well, read Hullbreaker. Every 5th attack against champions or weapon monster does extra damage. So this item is actually, surprisingly good in comparison because you're always getting 5 autos if you're ever Wing. So right here, right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then your W2 will be doing Hullbreaker damage, right? Or dealing damage after Hullbreaker. So it's awesome that you can do that much. It is also more important to know that you have something like this going on where a lot of time you will be doing more than 5 autos. So you're really setting yourself up for a W auto Q auto, sometimes Titanic. And then the W2 itself would be around 7 autos to where you can play for a Hullbreaker proc right here, right? And then, I don't know, it just gives you something to do outside of your cooldowns. It's worth noting. It's a pretty solid item. Now let's talk about Mercurial. Now this one, without Season 15 being out with multi-practice tool, it's tough to understand. But basically the idea is that when you are CC'd, you're going to click QSS to break out of it. Well, the thing about Mercurial is it gives you 50% movement speed. So when you're ulting, right, towards someone, so is there a way I can actually replicate this? Wait, does it work like this? Basically the idea is that when you hit Mercurial, you need to be ready to have a ton of movement speed. Did I shoot this, I hit this, and I drop it here? Did it go? Wait, so do I just transfer over to that? Yeah, I do. So look, so let's say I got CC'd right now, or let's You know, I got CC'd. It's really important to know that with this item, because sometimes you'll be buying Mercurial to break, you know, an important stun, maybe like a Leona ult or something, on your team, or on enemy team. And it's important to know that that movement speed will change how you're, like, you might not be ready for it, and it's good to even have just this part of this video letting you know. Now, if you watch all my videos, you already know about using Spellblade. Spellblade is the passive given to you by Sheen, and that goes into Iceborne or Lichbane through an AP Enjoyer. The idea is that every 1.5 seconds after using an ability, your next attack deals extra damage, okay? So what that means is you're trying to get the most, you know, efficient usage of your spells and your autos to maximize the damage this does, because that's a part of this item's usefulness, and why it costs so much is that when you're spamming spells, you get insane value. So you have to understand that because this is 5 seconds, right? I can do a standard combo like this. I can W, hit once, wait 2 seconds, hit again, wait 2 seconds, hit again. Now let me get rid of this so you can actually see it in real time. Alright, so W will proc it, right? Auto, wait 2 seconds, Q, auto, and then W2 has the increased. And then you have E for another one, like if you wanted to tap E for a slow and then go for a hit, because tap E is really good. There's always a way to apply this damage, and this damage isn't to be slept on as much, right? Tap E for a slow, and then you're just playing for your next cooldowns. It's worth noting that you can get about 4 procs of this really efficiently in every fight, and that's really not that bad. It's not as good as the really good Trinity Force abusers, but it's definitely a solid item on BRIAR that people sleep on all the time. Now, one of the only things about Stridebreaker is pretty straightforward. When you want to hit the button, you're going to slow them and you're going to gain movement speed. I think a lot of people misunderstand it, though, because there's a better usage to get out of that. If you ult someone in the backline, and then you are going to run past their team, it's better to not slow the target that you hit, but when you're running at them, right, hit their stacked team, bam, now you're speed running straight through. You just get 3 stacks of Stridebreaker. So it's actually a sick movement to, you know, you basically have 2 thoughts. It's like, do I use it on the person that I'm trying to hit? Now, if they're super low, it's probably best to hit them, get all the damage as you can. If they're pretty high health, it's better to have movement speed because that's a really broken stat. So yeah, there's multiple usages for Stridebreaker. Overall, it's just not that good of an item for BRIAR because the damage it does relative to other things is just low. And you don't always need a slow as BRIAR because you have an insane 60% movement speed when you're level 9. That, like, it's really not, it's kind of overkill in the wrong place. You'd rather just be doing damage. And I thought I'd show you guys the trifecta of tank stats. So if you're ever needing to be super tanky, these 3 items have the most insane usages together, where basically what they do is this gives you a good amount of armor, reducing auto attack damage too. This gives you a giant shield and tenacity, which is important. And this gives you magic resist, and heals and shields are increased by 20%. So if you think about these 2 together, right? So if I just drop, you know, this Spear Visage off, and then I go proc my health, right? This 276, turn on towers, right? And this is going to hurt a little bit. Ow. You know, dang, look at that, 276. Now you put on this little thing, right? Now let's look at it, right? Look at this giant shield. This is one of your best tanky combos ever. And boom, look at that, much different. Now again, this item does scale with more health, so some of that is defined by the fact that I have more health by 400 with Spear Visage, but generally speaking, it's 25%, 25%, it's 25%. This stuff goes a long way. This 3 item trifecta right here, armor, magic resist, health, tenacity, is an insane 3 item spike on BRIAR that not enough people are abusing. And if you pair this also with Death's Dance, you are super low damage. But something like a build like this, if you want to be super tanky, this is like the most efficient way BRIAR gets 4 items just tanky as can be. This is like a disgusting version of Bruiser that people don't often acknowledge because it's pretty low damage. But it is worth noting that if you buy something like this and then you get to super late game, it's actually a pretty sick build. It's actually very fun. Where, you know, if you look at my stats, right, I have 200 armor, 69, nice, 70%, and then 62% right here. That's going to scale up in a fight that I also just do a good amount of damage for. So, right, Jack Show is locked in. 257, 190, 300 AD, and I'm just cranking damage. It's often very misunderstood how tanky Briar can get. A lot of people are just building tankier Briar builds wrong, where they're going stuff like, you know, I mean, wrong is relative, right? They're probably right for that game, but like they're building stuff like this, where I'm like, this is tanky for other champions and admittedly pretty tanky, but Briar works a lot better with the things that proc in combat because she will be in the middle of a fight every time. Stuff like Jack Show is really good. Now let me do a little bit of yapping about lethal tempo, and then I'll do Halo Blades. So the idea is that when you have lethal tempo, you have two basic things to be thinking about. One, you have to understand that you're getting a lot of attack speed and it's hard to quantify, but you have to be able to see the ramp of your spells, right? So like if I just do a regular W, okay, starts moving a little bit quick, you know? Start figuring out how many autos you can get. Once you see it's at 6, then you know that you're doing some good damage. But as you get better at Briar, you realize that you can start, you know, going for these more fast combos, and lethal tempo starts looking a lot better, where now you're maxing out a lot faster. And if you look at the damage difference of just queuing and, you know, hitting some good auto attack cancels, you can add a lot of damage to your combo. And this gets exemplified by a lot of your other build choices, like, you know, especially the more marksman based, you know, for people that play Yuntao Crit or, you know, Kraken Enjoyers, so on. But more so just adding Titanic, again, Titanic Enjoyer over here, it's one of our best items. You can now make lethal tempo more insane, right? Because now with it, you know, if I just do the combo like kind of awkward, you know, you know, you hit some damage, one more on the exit, that's cool. But then when you're able to do it really fast, you can see there's like a huge drop off in comparative damage. But we turned all this stuff out of the way, so right, 29-14. So if you're able to do your damage a lot faster, you can get your lethal tempo proccing a lot more. Now just look at the damage. I mean, again, it's all about adding up all your entries here, because you have to know your damage and know how fast you can do that damage to, you know, make the difference in your games. Because my Briar is going to be doing 3183 there, yours is going to be 2914 if you're not ready for it. So you need to stay very, very up to date with this. But again, the biggest thing about lethal tempo isn't just the fact that I'm doing 200 more damage that I'm hitting, you know, frame perfect cancels. The idea that I can stack up on your frontliner and I can ultra carry. So like if the team fight was being approached like this, I'm hitting Skarner, no one cares, right? No one cares that I'm hitting Skarner, right? Once I see that stack, I'm gonna ult, right? Go for your carry. Now I'm lethal tempo stack Briar on your carry, and you can see the damage is insane. And that's what people don't understand about Briar, is that fully stacked lethal tempo ulting Briar is one of the most disgusting champs in the game. And people just really don't understand that there's so many different ways to think outside the box with this character, and that's what makes it so sweet. And if you can apply the same thing to Conqueror, like if you just stack up Conqueror the same way, right? Because you get 2 stacks per, you're going to 12, right? 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, done. Eat them into the wall, ult their carry right here, and now you're sliding in, they're in the wall, right? There's so many different ways to play out these team fights, and Lethal Tempo and Conqueror play the same, where you're just trying to stack them as fast as possible using Titanic's auto reset to then be this juiced version of Briar that's doing insane damage now. And it's just, I mean, it's hard to explain, but it's easy to see the difference of a good Briar that knows to stack their passive before there are. Either way. Now, if I could up to a little bit about Halo Blades. Halo Blades is like this awesome rune for a lot of the more damaging builds like lethality and crit. And it plays a little bit different, right? PTA, you're trying to like insta-stack, and Halo Blades, you're trying to, you know, figure out where to let the autos rip when people are stunned. So, right, you have to get really used to doing your damage like that. Oftentimes, you'll find that when you play this build, this Halo Blades build, that you'll be doing something like this, which will look a little different. So instead of W auto Q, right, what I'm going to do is something more like W3 autos and then Q auto W2. You know, something like this, right? And the idea is that I want to get as many autos and then W2. It's kind of weird. It's kind of the same, but a little different. The idea is that you want to get Halo Blades on cooldown ASAP, because how this build plays, it plays to jump in, do 3 autos, bam, 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 W2, reset your cooldowns, find another angle that they're not seeing. You're playing super assassin Talon-like And a lot of people don't realize it. Now, the thing about it that makes it so cool is when you get a fully charged E, okay? You have to look at the stun to know when to Q, right? You don't want to Q too early because then you're going to waste time on the initial stun. Hail of Blades has the opportunity to get all 3 autos off and then Q while the first initial E stun is done. So instead of doing something like, with PTA, W auto Q after your E, you do something like this where you're actually going for 1, 2, 3, then Q, right? And you can notice that you got more autos during that first stun. And that rhythm can be very weird when you swap from PTA, Conquer Lethal Tempo, to Hail of Blades, because you'll realize that you might be canceling your autos because the rhythm does change. And a lot of you lose damage because you don't realize that you have more time to be doing this. So it's very sweet, and this combo only changes by 1 auto if you want to be greedy or not, where you E, W, 1, 2, 3 if you had Hail Blades, and then you W2 as they go to flash. So sorry, I'll wait for everything. Auto refresh everything, wait for it. Where's my rune? Thank you. Right, PTA, you just try and immediately proc PTA. However, this one, look at the stun bar over his name, right? 1, 2, 3. I already got it, right? I'm actually flubbing this, but you get what I'm saying. Where it's just a difference in your autos, and you have to be used to it. And let me tell you, when you're swapping between games, you might just be messing up some damage and not realizing it. 1, 2, 3, Q, right? And that Q and then auto W2 is greedy at the end after my Q, right? All Q, auto W2. That part is greedy because they can flash it. So sometimes you'll realize that when you're doing this combo, you have to W and then Q W2, right? And cancel that 1 auto to make sure that it buffers if they were to flash over this wall immediately. So there's a lot to Hail Blades, but generally speaking, what you're just trying to do is you're trying to, fight someone here, do a bunch of damage, sneak into this bush. Oh my god, he's got a teammate over here. I'm going to then fly over the wall at this guy, do my damage, right? E them away, run away with, opportunity procs. Now I'm running. Oh my god, I'm back into this one. My Hail Blade's coming back up, bam. And this is like such a hit and run play style. Or you can just be crit and hit W, kill them all. It's up to you, but it's worth noting that the timing is different and it's worth your time to invest time into it. Now I have a game for you where basically I'm going to talk about the combos as they happen and just generally good game sense to reward the people that made it this far. So enjoy it. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Thank you. Alright, now that we're in game, I'm going to try and put them into words on the type of combos and what you should be looking for and best situations and all of that. So let's get right into it. We're going to start with W. Again, W just lasts for 5 seconds, so you could count to 5 if you want to. Trust me, it doesn't get extended, it doesn't get shorter, it doesn't get bigger. 5 seconds. At the end of it, you want to W2. Why? Because it does execute damage. Execute damage is a term that means does more damage the lower health they are, right? So you'd like them to be lower, meaning to execute them. So you always want to use it at the last second possible. The only time that you'd use it earlier is if you're going to actually just flat out kill someone, or if you're not just going to flat out kill them, maybe they have like a, say they have a second long CC and you have less than a second left, then well, you maybe want to use it because you won't be able to once the timer runs out. It's not going to automatically happen for you. Ooh, where did that Skarner go? Skarner did 1 camp. Assumably is red, right? Because he's there, he has 4 farm. Each camp is worth 4 farms. So as you can see, right, if you don't know, I'm at 8 because I did Raptors Krugs for 8, and this will put me exactly at 12. Let's go. Now, if enemy jungler is going to go ahead and show where he is and or waste time in his clear, I'm just going to go right to a camp. Every mistake like that should have, an equal and opposite reaction, right? I'm going to look at my top laner since I'm close to him, and I can actually dive that Darius. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my E. Seems like we're on the same page here. We're actually just going to go dive this guy. Now you dive this guy because this cannon wave is worth a ton of experience. There you go, good job. He lives and we're good. Now Darius doesn't have TP, so stuff like that. When you see enemy laner has double combat sum, right? These are meant to fight. They are the prime gank that you want to go to because of the fact that if they fall behind even for a second, even for 1 wave, something like this, that is game ending. The higher elo you go, the better your team is going to punish them for that. And yeah, man, that's a game loser. But so the main thing you want to do when you're sliding over walls right here, right? You're just going to W, let her auto, then Q to reset the timer, and then you get another auto and so on. wait till you auto, then W2, because again, if there's time between each auto attack, right, then you'd want to sequence it to where you use W2 immediately after your auto attack goes off. Oh, their Skarner took my blue and ganked. Now, he probably took my blue because he saw me go to his. Probably on a ward somewhere, maybe around here. So we know that he's done 16 farm. 16 farm, we can already kind of address where it's at because his red was 1, my blue was 1, so that's 8 farm. This crab wasn't it, so this would have to be 12 and then 16. So we know that his 2 topside camps are up and top crab is up. So we can assume he's going there. Now this person's actually stepping up a little bit. I'm going to ward right there just to see if she comes to ward or not. His camp would be up soon, or his Krugs, because those are the ones that he actually did. I have no problem hitting this Scryer and even trying to see when they're going to respawn next. Now Vex leave. Alright, so she left and she TP'd back, so I'm going to play for this here. Crab here. You want to look at your top laner. You see your top laner needs to farm this, so you actually don't want to fight. Oh, yeah. Got that direction work that way. So right here, I'm just looking for a W combo, maybe an E into the wall. Move that. I'm going to try an E into the wall. We can auto Q auto to kill the Skarner if we have our boy here. We can wait, our team's actually coming. Let's spread out a little bit. We gotta juke that. Come back in, auto Q auto, standard stuff. E before her spell goes off, and kill. Their support's starting to roam. You'll notice that the higher rank you go, the more supports are going to roam. Let me tell you, it is like playing a completely different game. When one support starts roaming, and yours does or doesn't, now you have to start doing math for an extra player everywhere, and man, it starts getting a little crazy there. These fights where we should have kind of lost that one. Luckily, our top laner and support kind of came to circumvent it a little bit. We see Skarner, but it would take us too long to walk all the way over there to try and catch him. So I'm just going to play for level 5, because I see that my experience is here. And the idea is that I think Skarner might gank top, so I'm actually going to ping to stay. And if he replies with staying, then I will then walk. So he did. So he cancels recall, so that means he's okay with this play. So I'm going to meet him for the said play. Again, Set's wave touched the turret, so we know that this wave's bouncing to us, and Darius probably knows that. So now I'm here. And he can probably step up. Because if he does, then Skarner might go over the wall. I'm going to walk around. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3, 4. Rage! We got both of his sums again. That must have been like off cooldown. So if Skarner didn't come here, he's probably on these grubs, right? Doing something else. Let's do this. Let's grab this. Steal 1. He should be at 2. That's fine. He might go over the wall to try and kill my Set. I can then play to jump him. I'm going to do exactly that. My Set should be able to do a ton of damage. I'm going to try and put him into the wall. A good stun there. I have cooldowns in 2. If my Set grabs tank, then we can live. But if he doesn't, then it's fine. We'll just die for him there. It's better if he were to have tanked here and then walked out in the last second. But to be honest, that one's a pretty tough one for someone to know off the jump if they've never done that play. So a lot of what, like, you have to understand your own anger, right? Like, they're mad that a play you died in a situation that they could have. You have to entertain the idea that maybe they've never done that play before, and you just taught them something new, and that's cool. You would never be mad at someone in real life that is telling you, like, wow, I actually didn't know you could do that. That was really awesome. You'd probably not feel angry towards that person learning that. It's only because you can't see the person on the other side of the computer that you're so angry. And when you start thinking of things in League, you know, like real life, you're able to kind of unlock that yourself from that anger. Because I'm not going to lie, man. You really don't know who's at the other end of the screen. Like, a lot of these, you know, if there's kids on this game, right? Like 13-year-olds playing this game, right? And you're just like screaming at that 13-year-old because he didn't know, like, oh my god, you didn't know Jace passive, whatever. It's like, bro, that's not how it works. Like, you can always assume that the person is completely new to the game and or, you know, just, I don't know, man. I mean, like, trying to assume they legitimately don't know anything and then make it work. And yeah, it kind of sucks to be that way, but I mean, for most of you that aren't playing in like Masters or above, a lot of people aren't fully dedicated to this game. in the same way that that maybe you are. So a little weird tangent, but you get my point. That, like, again, if you were to be seeing these people in real life, you probably wouldn't be as mad at them. Now, unfortunately, there's not too much of, like, combo to talk about in this game because we're not really doing anything that we haven't already covered, but the cool thing is that I took Lethal Tempo this game to show off some of the more mid-game-esque combos where, like, you stack on one person and then you ult to another, right? Stuff like that is very cool. I'm going to put my ult here. They're probably going to smite that and then run up. The idea. Perfect. So we're going to immediately Q auto Titanic. Q auto Titanic. And if she does that, that's fine. I'm going to wait for her to bubble, and if she does, I will try to W it. And I'm going to walk away here to act like I'm going towards Jinx to bait Vex in. Then we're going to do this. So she's going to try and fear me. So when she tries to fear me, I'm actually going to Q her. Because of that, when I'm stunning her, I'm also feared, so we're both just kind of standing there doing nothing. Whereas if you don't stun her right there, you're just going to run away. She's going to get closer to the turret. So it's kind of like interaction based in a way where, you know, you have to pick the right time to Q sometimes. And how do you learn that? Well, you just play the game and you, like, if you play against a champion and you realize, like, dang, that interaction sucks, try and think your way around it, right? There's always a million different ways to fight 1v1s and MOBAs. Even if you have the same champion, there's a million different ways to change these things, and it's worth always thinking about. Now, on the more macro side, we're going to look at these grubs, right? So if you get 4 or 6 grubs, that defines the little void mites that pop out when you hit a turret. So the idea is that I want to get 4 of these, so I can get 1 void mite, and that'll help us push come late game. You know, that could be the difference of you taking a Nexus turret or the Nexus itself. It's very important to look at that. Now, my support's already here, so I don't have to worry too much about pinging it. I'll ping 1 time. Now, if my support wasn't here, I'd probably ping a lot more. You can check and see this is Skarner's ward, so we know that he's near, or at least 15 seconds ago was around here. So we're going to be careful with our smites here. I have 2 stacks. You could smite the first and third, but since you have your team next to you, just save it for when he's on your map. Your screen, not your map. Because, again, him getting 1 is what he wants. So that was good. Ash Arrow's coming in. Alright, whatever, I'll do it. I don't have R. Oh my god, I thought I did. My bad. So you can assume that if Skarner's ward was here 15 seconds ago, he didn't play for those grubs, and he probably got these camps and he's going down. So I would assume he's here. Here? In which I'll ping that I'll go. So he's probably coming there? Oh, he didn't do Raptors either. So he probably did his topside camps and then reset to get, like, maybe an item? Some components or some sort? I don't know where Blood's at. The AK? I mean, they are losing, but I don't think this game is AFK-able. Oh, he's topside. Interesting. I'll shoot an R if it hits, it hits. Oh. Immediately Q, auto Titanic. And then save your W. This is fine. I'm still going to save my W just in case I happen to get near. I know, man, they're a little bit far. I'm going to use my W. You could have immediately W'd. That would also have been fine. But it's kind of hindsighty to know. But that's like what makes BRIAR difficult is you have to know if you need to W or not. You have to have like a good understanding of your damages. I'm going to see if I can W flash W2 his ass before he shields. Like that. And then hop out of turret aggro. Or try to hop out of turret aggro. My bad. Their team's probably running towards me, so I'm going to run away here. Actually, it's just Darius and Vex alive, so probably fine. Nice. Huge. Okay, let's go Sundered Sky. Sundered Sky is a sweet secondary item, or a second item, over Black Cleaver when you just want to do a little bit more damage. Like, Black Cleaver is going to give you a ton of damage and a ton of ability haste, but Sundered Sky does a little bit more damage and gives you the healing. Like, I don't know, I mean, like, if you're stacking Black Cleaver on 5 targets and you have Ashe and Set all hitting, then Black Cleaver is going to do a little bit more. But in terms of, like, your just raw 1v1 power every time that you crit and gain some health, you're going to be able to fight longer because your health is obviously higher. So, just a lot to it. Overall, Sundered Sky just lets you skirmish a little better. But Black Cleaver is, like, generally a better item. Because that item's just sick, bro. If you don't already love that item, let me tell you, you're missing out. One item that's definitely more slept on for BRIAR, and I'll build it this game since we're doing so well. You could go this build in an even game, but I would be more careful about understanding your defensive slots. Like right now, I don't need just armor or magic resist. So, you know, because you kind of need both against the team. So I'm just going to go damage, try and outplay their CC, and then, you know, call it a day there. So I'm going to look for a Kraken third, just to start one-tapping. They're taking a fight up here. I don't like it. Let's see if I can slide into a good position. Use that Ash Slow as your CC. You auto Titanic here. Smite that person. Just make sure you get some KP. E with his... Alright, I thought I was going to E with the knockup, but unfortunately, your boy is tanking through it there. Nice kill. I can go here, if you guys can go here. That's kind of a more advanced play for your team to split for both objectives, but it's fine. We can just do both together, it's no big deal. We're not really playing for Dragon Soul WinCon. I will say, when you are playing for Dragon Soul, it's mostly for games that are not close. Dragon Soul is like an awesome win condition in every game, and you should grab them when you have the free time. But in a game where you have super high tempo like this, it's usually pretty good to just keep snowballing really hard. With, you know, just... if your team is pulling more players more effectively than they are, just keep slamming enemy team, really. It goes a long way. Where, like, if you're able to, you know, keep up the tempo and never drop a team fight or even a bad trade, because a 1k shutdown is the same as they lose 3 people, right? Because that's 900 gold. So you have to be really careful about your shutdowns when you're ahead. So, like, right now, the last thing we need is me dying. Everyone else can kind of die. Relative cost. So it's important to just kind of know your trades a little better. And we're going to try and angle that W downwards so that we can try and go to their backline there. Unfortunately, they played around it well enough that I couldn't just get the free slide, but that's okay. And when you have Rift Herald, you want to go to the lowest health turret possible. So right now, you have a few options. You can go mid for the more important turret, because mid lane's the most important lane, right? Or you can go top lane, right? Free 700 gold. That relatively they might not spend as much time with that many people pulled to the farthest point of the map. Or you can go bot lane for 2 turrets if you think you can set up that play itself. You have decisions. I mean, there's the, how do you say it? The reality of you being correct is based off of you reacting to where enemy team is pulling players and where your team is able to play around. So because I see my Silas and my Nautilus resetting, I'm going to reset here. And then I'm going to be on the map with money the same time they are. And that's going to help with your team's willingness to fight. Because your team doesn't want to fight with 2k gold, right? So they're more likely to leave you behind. But if you see them resetting, you reset. Now you guys are on the same time, or you all want to fight at the same time, and you're going to go. So now when I go bot lane with this Rift, my team is ready to go, right? We're going to slam. I'm going to ping that for them. I'm going to grab this crab, and I'm going to try and Rift over the wall, because I don't want to show. Like, this all could be warded, whatever. I can't change that without my sweeper, but... Those could try. Like what we're doing here. She's going to slide through to Silas. Ooh, excuse me. Oh my god, we played that so bad. Don't look at anything I just did. To be fair, that was an overcook where you try and hop in the whip, but then the whip said no, you can't hop in. But your Silas also went a bit earlier than you were ready for, so then it was like, my bad. I don't know, man. We just had different timers in our head there. That's okay. We end up making it work. We do need to get our item. Nice. And again, we haven't done much out of the standard W auto Q auto Titanic that we've already showcased. That is most of what you do on this build. When you grab Kraken, it'll be a little bit more potent, so definitely check out the damage once I reset after the scamp. And you're going to notice a very big difference. Let's recall out of the vision. Now, again, I'm going to show you the Titanic combo that I highlighted in the video, where, again, I'm going to stack up lethal tempo on one, and then I'm going to ult another. I'm going to do a ton of damage. And this is what you want to do with lethal tempo builds. A lot of people aren't consciously, even like the higher elo BRIARs aren't consciously setting up plays like this. And I mean, it could be limiting them. The main thing to do is don't do this when you're just doing it to do it, right? Do it because there's an actual problem. Like right there, they don't have a lot of people with damage, right? But they win fights through Skarner standing in front of us getting a huge 5-man. So I want to stack up my passive on, like, say, Darius or, you know, carry, kill a carry, and then go to Skarner or something like that. Or stack up on Skarner and ult a carry. Whichever one is, you know, more plausible in your lobby. This game, it seems like their frontline stepping up often, so I don't mind ulting them. Right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Alright, my lethal tempo is stacked, so now if I ulted someone, it'd be completely free. Seems like enemy team's pulling back a little bit. But I don't know about saving him there. He got Skarner ulted. Now that Skarner ult's good for us. We can go. I would use my sweeper if I could here. We shouldn't take this fight, but I think we might have to take it just because we're too close to enemy team right now. I'm going to E him into the wall, hopefully. Oh man, what a situation to be in. Auto for Sundered Sky proc. Hop to your boy. Yeah, we got caught. The Silas dying here definitely griefed us a little bit. But enemy team had a good reaction. They knew that we had to fight. And like for people that are like, well, why didn't you just try running? Well, it's because I knew that we couldn't, right? So you're better off doing as much damage as possible because maybe you get one, maybe it dissuades them from Baron, whatever. Yeah, I mean, very important stuff. The Jinx traps and Skarner ult were good, and he didn't even get Skarner ulted. I thought he did, so I was just wrong about that one. I couldn't imagine a world that my Silas died without getting Skarner hard, but there you have it, right? Good show. Yeah, I learned something today. Now I'm going to let this shoot farther than usual. Oh my god. Wait, is that the synergy? It is. Vex no fear. I don't know how good this is. Auto for Sundered Sky proc. Auto Q, auto Titanic. She has no mana, so I think I can just buffer W2 here and be happy. You should be able to kill that. Nice. See, Nami and base, so we're only looking for Darius here. We can play for top tier 2. I can get mid wave, because again, you never let minions just fight. You should always farm them. Nice. It's probably worth to take any camp too, because again, his camps are worth double, right? Because money he doesn't get and money I do get before you do the objective. Because again, that's how you keep the 70 CS lead, right? Nice. Good. Huge. 1200s, my W2. Auto Q, auto Titanic, if you had it. I'm going to ping them off that just because I need a recall. Always ping your money if you need to. And again, even the more simple combos like auto Q, auto Titanic, right? They matter in situations like that. A lot of Briar's viability is found by the people that can be useful outside of W, which a lot of lower elo players tend to misunderstand that, like, just because your W's down doesn't mean you have to be useless. That's not true at all. Not even close to true. Okay, nice. I'm going to grab some Tenacity now, so I'm going to grab Sterak's Gauge. You could do Wit's End, technically, but it's not that good here. Okay. Sterak's is definitely a lot better because, especially if Darius tries to ult you before your Sterak's pops, immediately eats his ult, and then he is in a rough spot. Down to sweep in here and look for a play. Alright, my sweeper ran pretty well. I can actually pick this too. Good. We don't want to just hit Skarner like that. We'd rather hit Skarner when we can actually fully kill him, which will be farther away from his base, because he's just going to drive the boat, right? Now right here, I have one camp up, so me looking for the opportunity for 300 gold is worth more than that, 70 gold. And their red buff, past 20 minutes goes to every one of my team or his team. So this is a very important objective to get. People often do not realize how important this stuff is. My W2 at 14. Enemy team's looking for a cheesy engage, it looks like. She's no fear, so I can actually wrap around topside here and then jump behind her. She's going to get fear in time. I'm going to buffer E just so I don't run too far away. Flash that. If my team is here to engage, we can actually just hard play this. Nice. Oh my god. I have no E, so goodbye everyone. Just going to try and heal it. Nice. Yeah, that was kind of an int. Not gonna lie, I felt like with the sideless Skarner pullback that Nautilus was going to full combo the person that we hit, and that would have been a winning team fight. I see that my Nautilus still had ultimate after that, so maybe I didn't check it, but I was for sure that that's how it would play out. But again, just because I think it should play out that way, they could be oftentimes thinking of something that I wasn't even thinking about. Maybe he got stunned by a Jinx Trap or a Vex Fear or something. So, yeah, we definitely got to lock this one in. Now, whenever you find yourself, in positions where you should be winning team fights, but you're just not, change up the idea of how you're starting these fights. Again, as jungler, you should be facilitating a lot of your team fights. So right here, I'm going to go straight to neutral objective fighting. So I'm going to ping Baron, and I'm only going to fight around Baron, where maybe adding a variable to their team will be the difference to make them mess up or not. So I'm just going to farm a little bit, slow this game down. Because slow this game down means stop fighting and start farming. That's all slow this game down means. And just wait for neutral objectives. We get this Baron, we get Dragon, we can go to Soul Point, which hopefully we don't have to go to Soul, but it gives us an extra reason for them to be tense. I accidentally just shot that, so that's going to miss. It almost hit. Oh my god. That was just an accident. Might be. Literally just rested my hand back down. Okay, there. I can grab an extra Tunneler. Tunneler adds 15 AD and 100 health. Not too bad. Now you notice your Nautilus is recalling right now, right before it, but that's actually a good thing, and it's not worth being mad at. Because as long as we don't start a fight, his recall goes for free, but also supports work off this, this 4 right here. That's how many wards he has, right? So you can see he placed all these wards, which is good. So you want him to have more, because now they have to clear those wards, and then he will have another set to work with. Whereas their support right now is bot side, so we can just rush this. Now check and see if their side laners have TP, right? So I have Silas with TP, so we can start hitting this ASAP. We see where their bot lane is. And again, this ward is the GOAT, right? Because now they can't enter through either side of the jungle without us knowing. I'm going to start my sweeper just in case I use a blue trinket. They'd still get the vision, but it would end it a little bit faster. Rage no Jinx are. 1200, we're in there. He got ulted, good. Play through here. You want to maximize how much value you get out of Baron, so you immediately want to recall all together, and if you're not all going to recall, you're all going to hit the map. Now we're up 3 levels and 100 farm on Skarner, but don't forget that Skarner champ is OP. We probably should have ended up getting Black Cleaver, we might get it last, but just showing a little bit of the build resilience that you can have with Briar. You don't have to be so standard like me. Now we want this cannon to start rocking their turrets. So as long as this cannon starts hitting their turrets, that's good, because the same thing should be happening here and here. Again, they pulled 4 people topside, so this should be a free damage on bot. And that's how you play these Baron situations, is you start counting players really hard. So you know that that turret's going to go down. We see 4 people there, we're going to step up on this guy for sure. Try to put him into the wall, we missed a little bit. Silas lived, we got 2 turrets, we killed 1, so we are 5v4 here, we got all 3 turrets down, that's good. Oh, we're gonna ult, probably hit Skarner. Alright, we hit backline, now we just gotta die for it. Do as much damage as you can. Flash away when possible. Sundered Sky auto, Sundered Sky auto. Oh, you're in the wall. Skarner's doing tons of damage, so let's try and stun him when he goes to use a spell. We're there, don't run under, thank God for the fear. We hit this turret, so our dive ability gets a little bit easier, but this game's over with. And if you notice right there, that's your jungler's job shown so directly, is counting players. That's what I mean. When you see they move, you move. Something like that. Just like that. When I move, you move. Just like that. You know what I'm saying? Who's with me? Nice. Good damage taken. Good damage. Runes looking good. Nice. There you go. Hope you learned something.